Okay, what we're going to look at now briefly is like terms. Okay, you've done this plenty of times before in year 1. We're going to quickly go over it again so that you remember, because some people forget these things. Firstly, what is a like term? Like terms have the same variables and I'll put S in brackets because maybe there's only one variable, and those variables have the same power or index. Okay, we'll just stick with power for now. Okay, so those variables must have the same power. All right, so for example, if we have x and x squared, okay, these have the same variables, so the first condition is met, correct? Okay, do the variables have the same power? Well, x is really the same as x to the power of 1. Okay, so we have x to the power of 1 and x to the power of 2. Therefore, these are not like terms. Okay, let's try another one. What about if we had 3a squared and 2b squared? Sorry, 2a squared. Okay, do they have the same variables? Well, both of these have an a. Okay, and what power do those variables have? Well, a is squared in both of them, so therefore these are like terms. Okay, you need to be careful though, because what we could also have is 4m squared n and 3mn squared. Okay, now do they have the same variables? Well, both of them have an m and an n, so that's good. Do the variables have the same power? So again, the n here has a little 1, and so does the m over here. Now you can see that here m is to the power of 2, whereas here m is to the power of 1. I might use a better color there so you can actually see it. Okay, so in the first example, m was to the power of 2. In the second example, m was to the power of 1. Okay, now those variables do not match. All right. Also in the second one, n is to the power of 1 here, but n is to the power of 2 here. So the variables again don't match. So these are not like terms. Okay, the next example is what if we have a, b, c and 2acb. Okay, do they have the same variables? Yes, they have. Both of them have a, both of them have c, and both of them have b. Do the variables have the same power? Well, all of these are raised to the power of 1. So actually, yes, these are the same. It doesn't matter that they are in different order. Actually, the second one is written incorrectly because we try to write our variables in alphabetical order. So really, this is 2a, b, c. Okay, so these are like terms. Okay, and remember, in between each of these letters, there's really a times. And if you do, for example, 3 times 4, it's the same as 4 times 3. So when we multiply, the order doesn't actually matter. Okay, so these are like terms. Now, if you want to add two algebraic terms together or subtract them, they must be like terms. Okay, so to add or subtract algebraic terms, they must be like terms. Okay, so before you add or subtract, you need to check to make sure they have the same variable and that the variables have the same power. Okay, so for example, 3x squared plus x squared. These variables are the same. They have the same power. Remember, there's a secret 1 here in front of the x that we don't write, so you're doing 3 plus 1, which gives us 4x squared. Okay? We've been over this plenty of times in year 1. You should be pretty good at it by now. So I don't think we need to go into too much detail here on adding or subtracting them. Alright? But please be careful with this. Now, we can also do multiplying. And when you multiply like terms, or when you multiply algebraic terms, so to multiply algebraic terms, they don't need to be like terms. Okay, so they don't need to be like terms if we're going to multiply. They can just be done. So let's use the example up above, or let's go one of these ones that wasn't. 3a squared. Sorry. No, they're boring. Okay. 3a squared times 2b cubed. Something like this. Okay, these don't have the same variable and they don't have the same power, so they're not like terms, but we just multiply the numbers. So multiply the coefficients and then multiply the variables. Okay, so 3 times 2, these are the coefficients. The coefficient just means the number in front of the variable. Okay, so 3 times 2 is 6, and a squared times b cubed is just a squared b cubed. Okay, so when we're multiplying, it doesn't matter, they don't need to be like terms, and this also counts for division. Alright, so it doesn't matter. Now I'm going to leave it at that. We will go into more detail on multiplying shortly. Okay, because there are some rules that we have to follow with multiplying as well. Okay.